Hello folks, L.A. Little here with TA Today, and I'm going to bring you an update on the uranium markets. I've been doing this for about 2 years now, and I've called almost every one of these turns. If you remember, it wasn't that long ago I was talking about that this market was trying to put in a bottom, and in fact it has. It's ran 35, 40, 50% depending on what you're in off that bottom. So let's look at uranium. Let's look at uranium stocks. Let's look at the nuclear space in general. Let's go. Got a lot to cover here. I'm going to give you my updates. I'm going to show you ABCD structures of the Neoclassical. I've got a book coming out. For the next month, I'm going to drop some information on you on how you can get this book for basically free. And so you just keep watching the videos and we'll pop into that when it's time. As far as these markets, let's turn to them and let's start with the uranium. Let's start with the granddaddy here, which is the Sprott physical. And what has it done? Well, if you go back, we've talked about this multiple times. It came back on the long-term time frame, did a bullish retest regen. And what is it doing? It's regenerating back to the top side. That's what you want to see. And so nothing wrong with this. Never did get a signal on the long term that anything was wrong. Just a normal retrace. If we look at the daily or the weekly, a very different story. As you know, we had multiple times where this market looked like it was going to try and turn and failed. The most recent one being this one back here when it broke this swing point low and proceeded to drop another $4 off of 22, which is a fairly significant percentage before it turned. What we did get, if you go back and study it here, is you did get a reversal signal, right there. And then you get the long tail on the very next bar. And since then, it's been pretty much straight up. And in the last video I told you, we were looking for and hoping that we would get some sort of a retrace. We were on this bar here when I talked about it. It looked like we were going to get it on that bar. It didn't happen. We got a higher one. And then finally we got that retrace right here. What did that do? Well, that set up your ABCD structure, right? That ABCD structure now is from that bar back to below on this one and shooting up to there. And if we look over here, we can see exactly where it's going to try and go. Intermediate term time frame 28.22. So this is more than likely going to complete 28.22, which is going to take you right up to almost that swing point high. And you got another one right over there. And that's where it's going to bog down. So if you're trying to trade this, this is the area you want to be looking at and saying, okay, is there something that I want to do once it gets up into that area? If we look at it on a daily time frame, just beautiful, consolidations, retest regens, etc. If we go back over here, we'll have retest regens on the weekly as well. They'll set up in this area here. Hasn't got over it yet, so they haven't set up yet. Okay, that's the uranium. That's the physical. If I look at it on the SRUUF, right? Same idea. Here it's stronger because of a dollar denomination. It's in US dollars. US dollar's been getting weaker, so this thing is stronger. And so what has it done? It's already broken that swing point high. And so a break of that swing point high, if it comes back to retest, it's going to have a retest regen in that area. It's got a bearish one that it's dealing with right now. As it's going up, it's going to set up one right here as a result of this breakout that just took place. If I look at it on the over here on the daily time frame, you also have the retest regen here if it comes back. And so everything so far looks pretty sweet the way it's set up. Nothing major difference, just stronger because of what it is. Now, CCJ, if I go to the stocks, this has been the strongest stock by far. And what has it done? Just straight up. I mean, this because it's liquid, this is where all the money's coming. And as a result of that, it's setting up retest regens at higher price points along the way. If I go to any of the other stocks, if I pop into, let's just take one of my faves, the UUUU, you can see here, this one's not nearly as strong. It's not nearly as close. But at the same time, when I say that, this had retraced a lot farther. I mean, you're down around, what is that, 320 or so? And now you're at 6, right? That's a double. You've basically doubled on most of these. UEC. If you do the math on it, what is that one? 4 to 7? Not quite as strong. So if you're looking at these, just ask yourself, which ones have ran the farthest. When you get the retrace, that's the one you probably want to be looking at. Next, I want to pop over and look at the nuclear space, because this space has been on fire, and I think it's about to consolidate. And so I want to go to the two small modular reactors. You can see here you've got a consolidation on the daily already taking place on the OKLO. And if I go over here on the weekly, you've definitely got it starting to take place right as it's coming back in to do the retest regen, the one outlined by these green bars. Now, should it hold? Yes, it should. If it gets deeper, it's definitely going to hold here. And so you got to be a buyer down there, but that's a long way down. And if it gets down there, everybody's going to think you should be dumping. But this is a nice setup. But more than likely, given the way this thing has set up, more than likely you're fixing to get a sort of a consolidation to take place on these. If I go over, I think it was SMR, which is really starting to show it. Yeah, this is the one I was looking at earlier. You can see an over under here after an extended move. To me, that's a 2-bar reversal. 2-bar reversals typically give you some sort of a retrace. The great thing about a 2-bar reversal, if you're long, is they're probably going to come down and go right back up again. And so you want to take this sort of an action and look at that retest regen as it comes back in and try to buy it. Where is that? Well, it's that teal line that you see there, right, off of this swing point high. So I would think probably in that $30 range would be a sweet buy. And so, even though it probably is going to consolidate from 30 back up towards the highs, let's just say the consolidation ends up in that area. And I'll just kind of draw it in so you can see what I'm talking about from about here to there. If it were to do that, right, you're talking about a huge range. That's worth trading. Now, it's probably a one-way trade. I wouldn't want to be shorting this thing. But at the same time, this thing went from, what is it, 12, 11 and a half or something up to 45. That's a tremendous move, right? So big range here. This is a type of stock that you can trade, that you can buy almost with impunity on the way back. Let's look at some of the others. ASPI, this is one I've highlighted elsewhere. This looks like a range that is set up. You went over it, you failed, you test failed at the top, over and back under, a little bit less volume. That looks like a range setup right now. We can look at GEV, which is another one I've highlighted before. This one's extremely strong, still is. Fairly young in its life cycle, so I like the way this one has set up, and I'd be looking for an entry in it on some sort of a retrace. That retrace in this particular case would be right up in this area. If I go and look at, let's just look at the ETF itself. Here's the ETF itself. You can see how strong it's been. So a retrace back into this area, sweet buy. And so if it gets down that far, you want to think about it, especially on the first retrace. It's almost a guarantee to pop back up. So that's where we're at. I've called these moves. I'm telling you, you can time these markets. You just have to look at them and listen to them. Right now, I think uranium is still the place to be, the physical itself. You've already got the runs on the others. They're probably going to consolidate to some extent. The nuclear stocks, some of those have already started to consolidate. Uranium stocks haven't yet. They may run farther. The uranium physical has farther to run before it's probably going to consolidate as well. So I like the space. I've loaded my boat up. I hope you've done the same. Have yourself a great one, and keep tuning in. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a like if you like the material, and I'll see you next time. Take care.